Well, all right. So, testing out live stream here. First time doing it. I've got some halves I'm going to be turning into the bank when I pick up my halves on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I figure might as well get some of these out of here. These black rolls have been pretty decent for me lately. I've had usually about a half a silver per box average, and these black ones have been almost 1 to 2 per box, so not bad. So anyway, there is that, and I'm just going to be open them up, seeing what we can do. Hey NC, hey KJ. So, my first live stream, I finally got a computer that is working. My other one was a i3 4 gig. That doesn't work too well. So I finally got one. This is an i9 12,000, and then a 32 gigs of RAM, so hopefully we'll see how it goes. I do average about, I think right now I'm up to 18 NIFC, and that is kind of an average for me, 16 to 18, and I don't know why it is more than most people, but seems like a lot of people get like 6 or something, and they're saying it's kind of a big box for them. So anyway, I've been finding a lot of magic coins also lately. Not sure why it took me 5 years to finally find my first one, but after the let's see, there's an NIFC 2007, and after that first magic coin, took 5 years, and then all of a sudden it just kind of out of nowhere, just been finding them quite a bit lately. So it's kind of interesting how that goes, I guess. I'm still waiting to find my first silver in a quarter hunt. Hey Copper Owl, have decided to try my first live stream and opening some halves, because I'll be taking them back to the bank on Wednesday when I pick up my boxes. I have a bank that I'm able to get 4 boxes from, and then my credit union has been able to start getting a few boxes for me. Finally been able to get some after years of asking them, but we'll see what's up. But how many do you think I will get for NIFCs? Like I was saying, it's average about, depends, 16 to 18, but usually right now I'm up to 18. So it feels good to actually start. It's kind of one of those things I never thought another NIFC 2018. Never actually thought I would get to that. My computer I had was a old one. It was when I was doing my MBA, and it worked great for doing papers and that sort of stuff, but didn't work too well for streaming. So this one is a i9. It is a 12th gen or whatever it is, 12,000 something, and got a pretty good deal on it. It was a kind of a no-name brand, but it's just basically it's not the big box, it's like kind of a mini one, but it so far has been working pretty good. So I just figured I'd come on and kind of throw it out there. I've been getting these black boxes lately, and usually they were always the yellow rolls, and these black boxes have been actually better silver for me. Yeah, mine, I got my MBA, I finished that actually 10 years ago in July. So 2018, it's all beat up, but still an NIFC. I don't keep them unless they like are absolutely beautiful, which 99% of the time they're not. And then, you know, I never really did much with the computers after I got divorced. You know, I just kind of let it sit there. Kids played it once in a while. But now that I've kind of gotten into this more, it works out better. Yeah, it was one of those things that was kind of I told myself if I hit 1,000 subs, I'd start seriously looking at it. And so I hit 1,000. I'm up to 3,600 now. I just kind of had quite a few subs in a few months there. I had a couple of videos, a couple of my shorts that went and had about 30,000, 20, 30,000 on a few of them. And so I guess that helped. I know Pa had a few that went like 500,000. So you never know. But yeah, I was sitting there and just figured, now I'll never really probably end up doing it, just because, you know, with a few hundred, it's just not that big of a thing. But yeah, so I just went, and now I'm up to 3,683. And so my kids, of course, asked me, when they called tonight, what you at, Dad? And I was like, yeah, I'm still the same. Kind of goes up sometimes, and once in a while you lose a sub, and you never know. But yeah, sometimes you just get a video that goes crazy. Like for me, you know, like I said, 15, 20,000, and just ends up, you know, getting a bunch. Of course, they're all from shorts and stuff, so a lot of them probably aren't going to watch live streams, but that is still fine with me. I just need the hours now. I went way past the 1,000 subs, but I'm slowly gaining on the hours. So far, no silver. I've been averaging half a box in the yellow ones, the yellow rolls. These black ones, like I said, have been giving me about 1 to 2. Sometimes there's 2 in a box. And 2018, I'm up to 4 nifties. So I will gladly take more silver, and definitely take that anytime. I'm setting some off to the side here to look for like DDOs and stuff later. 73s, 74s, 77s, which I've never found one. And I almost threw those in the discard box. I have a Sam's Club box that I just throw all my wrappers in. Makes it easy. Welcome, Justin. Good to see you. Just sitting here opening up some coins so I can get ready to dump them on Wednesday when I pick up my coins from the bank. So instead of having a few $1,000s sitting on my floor, I'll have a few less $1,000. When I bring them in from the car, I end up having someone's like, "You're gonna get robbed," and it's like, yeah, I'll let them try it. If they want to haul 400 or 500 pounds of coins, you know, a box of these is about 25 pounds. So it's one of those, if they really want to rob me, they're going to be carrying literally hundreds of pounds. Right now I had 2 of these. My son's working on a quarter box. Been taking him a little bit extra time because he is doing football now. Had a football camp jamboree on Saturday with 3 of the schools. So they kind of did 5-minute scrimmages type things. And so he hasn't really been working on that much, but it's one of those that that's what he likes. He's a big boy. He's when he was born, he was 10 pounds, 10 pounds 15 ounces when he was born. So very big boy, and hopefully he won't take after his dad. I'm short and stocky. He is so far about one of the tallest in his class, which is good. He actually has bigger feet than me, and he's not even 12. So Dad, being 46, has size 8 wides, and he has up to 8.5 now. So it's always good. But just figured I'd kind of go through it instead of doing my normal filming. Of course, I got comfortable with that, but we'll see how this goes. Still getting everything set up with like Streamlabs and all that. The commands I had, that they worked to start with, and then all of a sudden they quit working, so I don't know if they changed it or what, but I will have to figure that one out. So still getting everything set up. It's going to take a while, but I kind of expected that. Going down the road, I might be looking, most people do like $half boxes. They'll sell a $half box, and I'm thinking maybe do a penny, like a penny or nickel box, that sort of thing. 6-year-old weighs 86, 54 inch, wears size 5. Yeah, it kind of sounds like my son. When he came out, the doctor goes, well, there's our next linebacker. We live in a smaller town. It's grown a little bit, but when I moved here, it was about 5,000 people. And so it's probably 2018 FC. Probably about 6,000 people now. So the nearest Walmart's like an hour away. And of course, if you want to play, cheerleaders, it doesn't matter what, size you are or anything, they usually let any of them do it. But the funny thing is everybody knows him by his nickname, which is Cheese. And even the coaches, I've seen them, like they'd come in with to the hospital or whatever, and be like, is it okay if we call him that? Does he mind it? And I'm like, no, he actually kind of thinks it's great. When kids get a nickname and everybody knows them by that, they think it's great to be called by a nickname. When I was not young, but younger, about 20, I got the nickname of Big A because there was 3 Adams that worked together. There was me, there was a Little Adam, and then there was just Adam. So you had Adam, Little Adam, and Big A. So there's people now still that call me Big A. And it's one of those that I've always been big. Someday I might actually get down to a decent weight. I've always been, like when I graduated high school, I was 260 pounds, and right now I'm at sitting at 270. I did get down to 240, and then just kind of got sick and quit doing stuff, and 2010 Nifty. So I had a little bit gained back up on, but I'm working on starting to look at getting some of that back off. I would love to get down to 220, but that probably won't happen. When I would work out at the gym, I would have guys, you know, kind of like bodybuilder type guys, and they would assume I was about 240 pounds, and I'm like, no, at that time I was 280, and they're like, you're no way, and I'm like, yep. So we'd go over to the scale, and they would see me get on, and they'd be like, there is no way. So I've always been big, stocky. That was the nice thing about when I was a bouncer and worked security. Nearest town 7,000 and 3 Walmarts within a 45-minute. So I have a hour 15-minute drive is one Walmart, an hour to the other Walmart, and then from there on it's got, you know, the bigger, it's like, I think it's up to 80,000 people now, but you just kind of get used to it. A lot of people drive over for one little thing, and it's like, dude, you're driving an hour each way and spending all that gas money to save $2. So I just buy local for most of the things. And then I have the Sam's Club Plus membership, which I get free shipping, and that helps out a ton. So I'm able to get a lot of this stuff sent to me. One regular and 3 super. I've seen some of those that are like just the small, like grocery store type, and never really have gone into those just because I don't need to. But you can get most of the stuff you need here. Of course, Amazon, it'll say it'll be there next day. Yeah, I'm planning on 2 days. Everything takes longer here, even the regular mail. 2009 NIFC. Even the regular mail, it's one of those that it goes to Las Vegas now instead of Salt Lake like it used to, because Las Vegas is actually closer by an hour and a half, even though Salt Lake is in the same state. I live in southern Utah, and so that one has a little bit of, can't tell if it used to be painted or what, but not counting that. If it was painted in gold tone something, it's not anymore, so I won't count that one. But yeah, most of it is, I've seen it actually go from places up to over to California, bounce around for 2 days in California, go back to Vegas, bounce around in Vegas for a couple days, and then finally come out for delivery. So no idea how that happens. Sometimes I guess my packages want to take a vacation. So I usually find holding them in my hand is kind of easier for me than going through and, you know, flicking them down on the mats. And that's just kind of my preference. But yeah, I get a few like this, get all, you know, chewed up, dented up, and I've actually got a little baggie of ones that have been rejected, like you put them through the coin machine numerous times, and rolled 20, only a few nissies, looks like 7. So I have a baggie. I just, once I get that full baggie full, just kind of interesting to see what it will end up being. But It's kind of amazing how many actually I get to go through after I throw them through 4 or 5 times sometimes. And I walk in, and my credit union has the coin machine in the lobby. And it's a Coinstar, but it's not the green one. It's like a one that they put in the banks. I'm sure you've seen them. And if you're a member, you don't get charged a fee. And so I will go in and dump my coins when I pick up my other coins. And the other day I went in dumping a bunch of nickels, or quarters, and checked the tray before I started, and there was a silver quarter in there. So never found a silver quarter in the wild, but I found silver quarters, I guess, in the wild, not in my hunts. Hey, Maple Leaf Numismatics, I'll be able to speak one of these days. Welcome for joining my inaugural, I guess you'd call it, 2018 NIFC stream. Decided to kind of test it out. It's still in the early stages and getting bugs worked out and all that sort of thing, but it's figured why not. I don't have an excuse really anymore because I've got my computer, and I'd always told myself once I hit 1,000 I would, kind of seriously look at getting a new computer. Mine, when I was doing my MBA, I finished that 10 years ago, and at the time it worked great. It was good for the papers and that sort of thing, but it was an i3, way slow, and so I came across this. This is an i9. Max speed is 5 gig instead of like 1.7, and it has a 32 gig RAM with 1 terabyte SSD hard drive, and bought a couple monitors, that sort of thing. So yeah, so like I said, still getting it set up, and just figured why not, might as well test it by doing live stream. And I do have my scope. We'll go through some of the ones here after this box is done. I'll move it over to the scope and just do a bunch from one box. I tend to do them at a box at a time, just kind of keep track of what the finds are. Yeah, it's not anything super fancy, but I mean, all the internals are basically what I want. I didn't care about like the brand name and stuff. Yeah, just a shiny D. I thought that maybe it was that edge, it might have been improved, but it's not. But all the internals are one of those that you can't complain about all that. See, there's another one of those chewed up beat. That'll probably get rejected, and it'll go in my reject tray, coins. I have a little baggie I'm accumulating, and I'll probably do a video, because those are the ones I put through 4 or 5 times and they get spit out. And on the 72s and stuff, I can look and just see if I see the no FG. If I don't, then I scope them. And I had a hunt not too long ago. I had 3 no FGs in one box. I had 82s, no FGs, and a 72. And there's another one that was in another box, but I could barely see it. But with my naked eye, I figure if I can at least see it that way, it's not going to really do anything. So on those, I just look and I'll usually spot them right away. But anyway, 2018 NIFC. That's 9 NIFCs now. So halfway to my average per box, and I've still got basically half a box left. I do need to get a new computer desk. This is just an old one I had from first time I went to college, 20-something years ago. And I do need to get a better one that's bigger and allows more of the things to get clamped. But it's going to do for now. I don't know exactly where I want to put it. If I want to put it upstairs where there's way more room, or if I just want to keep it down here because that's where all my coins are. Most people don't store them in the living room, but when you're single and you don't have a life really, storing them in the living room in the corner is a great spot. One corner has boxes of coins. The other corner has cases of energy drinks. And like Gatorades and stuff. I do sugar-free stuff. So far no silver. I was hoping with these black ones, sometimes it's like the last one or two that I come across silver. There's been a few boxes, it's like I've got to edit some videos, but it was like literally the last roll, and I opened it up and there was a silver, and it was like, people are going to think that I like fake it or something, and I don't do that faking crap. I figure if you have to fake it, people are going to know it, and it's just not my thing. You can usually tell when it's genuine finds instead of loaded and that sort of stuff. Not a ton of 24s and 3s. I do have, like, these were a couple 24s, but for a while there last year when they came out, I had, I think, 25 boxes straight of 2024s, Denver, and it was like, am I going to get anything other than that? Usually I have some other finds besides Nifsies. I been having never get some rolls of halves. I spend the rejects and force them back out into circulation. Rarely can get any though. Yeah, took me a while to finally get a bank to order them. I went in and to one bank that we bank at with the hospital, and you think, even though I don't have millions of dollars, but the hospital with some of their accounts and stuff do, that the manager or whatever would at least think, yeah, we'll talk to this guy, but wouldn't return my calls. I'd go in, nothing. 3 or 4 times, nothing. My credit union was like, no, we won't order halves. And then I got this other bank, the third bank in town, and they're like, yeah, we can get them. So I finally got them up to 4 boxes. At first they were ordering 2. I was like, if you can get 4, I will take 4. So they have been getting 4. And then the credit union, I was like, if you ever get them, they're like, we can probably order some now. So they started trying to get some. And I've been picking up, usually they get 2 boxes, and the delivery company does all the banks here, and they only come every other week, so it'll be this Wednesday, and then 2 Wednesdays, and then 2 Wednesdays, and that sort of thing. And some nights I pull out more things to look at for DDOs and that. Sometimes it's like, just kind of depends on my mood. So right now I've basically got 73s and 74s, a handful of 77s and that, but we will see what it is here in a minute. Looks like I may not hit my normal NIFC count. It's kind of weird doing it and talking the whole time. Because I'm used to, just kind of, 2017 NIFC. That's 10 now. I'd open up a roll, have a find, film it, go along, open up a roll, find, film it. And this, it's one of those that it's always thinking, oh, I can do that. Sit there, talk. But a little harder than you think. What is that? Yeah, painted edge. Or crusty edge, actually. Because this part looked painted. This, you can tell, has the worn off. So sometimes you see them and they're like, oh, that's too gray to be a silver. But still always double check it, because I've seen ones that you think, it's not silver, and it's like, oh, it is silver. 2020, still NIFC. You got Magic Marker Man with the black that Pa gets. I get those once in a while, not as many as he gets probably, but I do tend to get some now and then. And like I said, I kind of do them in my hand. I just find it easier for me, unless I throw them like that. And I just have a big canvas bag that the bank actually gave me. Two of them. They're like, we have these if you want them. I'm like, sure. So I fill those up. I can fit 2 boxes of halves in, so about 50 pounds in them. I've had them for about a year and a half, and my first one finally the handle ripped. So not too bad. Thousands and thousands of pounds of coins, quarters, everything, not just halves, pennies, dimes, nickels, and finally ripped up 2018 NIFC. So I'll probably go over to my mom's and use her sewing machine and stitch it up. But for now, I've got my other one that I'm using. It's the exact same kind. And being in southern Utah, I tend to get a lot more Denvers when I do find the newer coins. I've only found a handful of 2024s. I have not come across like tons of them, but I think I've found a total of 4 this year now. And I found some that it's like, I got a couple boxes, they were like 2022s, I think they were. It's like, where do you find these things? Yeah, a lot of people store the copper ones. I really don't, just because number one, I don't have the room. If I had a house with a big storage room like my old one when I was married, I had a 5-bed, 3-bath, 2,700 square feet, and a huge storage room. Something like that, I would save them. But me, I'm just in a townhome. I rent. There's no way I can afford houses here. I had to sell the house when I got divorced, and so I just don't have room to store them. It's bad enough having coins all over in your living room. But yeah, the housing, when I had that, it was, I bought it for $150,000. It was like, that was a pretty good deal. It wasn't the highest or lowest. When I sold it, I actually sold it to my brother to save realtor fees, because I was asking him some opinions on what he might do with it if it was his. And that's when he was like, well, what if I buy it? So at that time it would have gone for about $215,000. Of course, you have realtor fees and all that kind of stuff. And so he just had his attorney draw up a contract, and basically it was doing it as a rental, and he already had the financing on it, so he didn't have to worry about all the regular stuff the banks have to go through. And so he got a deal, I got a deal, I was able to get out of it. Now that house is probably worth about, no, it's probably gone down. It started to go down a little bit finally here. But that same house right now would probably sell for $420,000. So he basically has doubled his money on it almost. But that's okay. Life happens. And 2020 Nipsey. I'd have to basically earn at least twice what I make, and that's with all my call. I work at the hospital in accounting, and took that. I used to work at the the front counter and the ER desk and stuff. When that position came open, they offered it to me, and I was like, heck yeah. So I took that, and I still help out with call, usually about every other weekend, Friday night, all of Saturday until Sunday night. So it's like 45 hours of call, and that adds about 40% of my paycheck. So it's kind of hard to give it up. If I wanted to quit doing that, they'd have to pay me, like I said, about 50% more than I'm making now just to stop doing the call. So that's what I do. That's why I missed some of Pa's streams. Last week it was my son had football camp, jamboree. So I wasn't able to make it for most of it, but it happens. Yeah, I was actually lucky. I found this townhome, and I'm on the end unit. It's 8 in a building, and I'm in number 8. I'm on the very last one, and the one next to me, number 7, is rarely rented out, like maybe a couple times a month. So it's kind of nice. Basically, I don't have any neighbors. When I first moved to town, they were selling for about $85,000. Now the ones that are for sale are listed. They're trying to get about $315 or so. Still too high for these, I think. The HOA dues are absolutely killer. I'm glad I don't have to pay them. HOA dues are $187, I think it is. And there is no way that that is worth it to me. So they finally rose my rent after 5 years. I was renting for $900 a month. Most of the other ones were selling for or renting for like $11. And so they finally rose it up to $1,000, and I was expecting it. I was just surprised it took them 5 years. But the other ones in town, they rent for the same thing, like a 3-year or 3-bedroom. They go for, I think they rent for almost $1,400. So it's like I can't really complain. I have basically no neighbor and close to work, and it lets me pay my bills. I budget on my 80 hours, so my call when I do that is basically gravy. So it goes to coins, you know, buying a computer, doing some fun things with my kids, that sort of thing. So I can't complain too bad. Yeah, it wasn't my choice to get divorced, but there was some stuff that she did that she decided it was easier to file for divorce instead of work through some issues, which I was willing to do with her, but oh well. So yeah, that's like around here, a lot of that crap, it more than doubled. It was just like, the other thing here is, you know, you always hear the Californians come in. Well, here we actually get a lot of the people from California. Actually, a lot of them are coming in from Vegas also. You know, they're tired of the crime and the stuff there, and they're coming in. Of course, they sell a house, you know, like in California, you know, $700,000-800,000, and they bought it 10 years ago, so of course it was half of that amount. So they come here and they can buy a house for cash. And so everything just kind of went skyrocketing, and my brother bought it literally like a month before COVID hit. So his was like absolutely perfect timing buying it for me. And I couldn't have afforded it on my own because I looked at trying to do that, but even though I could have paid the mortgage, because it actually would be cheaper than what I'm paying right now. Of course, you know, with my income at that time, I wasn't making as much either. I was still doing call, but it was a lot less for wages. But, you know, hindsight, you look back, I've gotten into a few things that, like when Bitcoin, you know, came out, and, you know, bought a few $100s worth. Back when they were, I don't know, about $5,000 a coin. Ended up selling it, making it, you know, a couple $1,000 on some crypto. I don't normally do that, but it was like, yeah, it's just kind of a, you know, play around thing. I had a little extra money, so I figured why not, and I made you know, a few $1,000, and I told myself I wanted a new phone, and if I can buy the phone with profits, then that's great. So that's what I did. I made it, and it was starting to kind of go down, and so I cashed it out and bought my phone. But yeah, I've bought in stocks, like in my, I have so many unsolicited offers on my truck and house. Yeah, I would get calls from these people that are, you know, buy your house for cash thing. And the one I said, I think I'm going to burn it down this weekend because you guys keep calling me and I've told you quit. So if I'm just, you know, going to get cheated out of money, I'll just burn that stupid thing down. And I can make it look like an accident. I was like, so maybe you might just want to quit calling me. And I said, and I have all of the dates and times recorded. So it's up to you if you want to continue doing this, because I'll file harassments. And the guy finally quit calling me. And what, I didn't have calls recorded or anything, but it was just like, sometimes you just call their bluff, and that's what it is. luckily at work we have, you know, 457B and HSA and stuff, and so I do the investments on that. I do my own. I don't use a investment guy. I used to be financial advisor years ago, and so I know. I mean, I know him, and he looks at stuff and goes, "Yeah, it's a good type of thing." I don't think I have any of those set up yet. NC. Still going through and getting some of those settings. You can try exclamation me. I haven't been able to get it to work for some reason. It did work, but when I went to try it, it wouldn't do it. So I don't know what got screwed up in there, but what's night? Oh. So the one, but the other one is, yeah, I've got to fix some of that stuff. But at least it pulled up that when I was doing it. It wouldn't do anything for me. So at least it's doing something for you guys. And like I said, I'll have to go in and kind of fix it, because I've had, like, I had some of those commands. Maybe it's because I was trying to do it on my own account, but I think I know what that problem is. 2018 NIFC. All right. Bunch of ones that we'll probably check. So let's find my mouse here. Sorry. It was working earlier? I guess I didn't see that one come through then. But we'll take a look. Nope, it's black. But I'm still here. Well, I'll have to maybe figure out why my scope it was working earlier. So I'll have to go through those and figure out. Guess I had 11 in that one. So that had 15 NIFCs. That was it. That was, like I said, kind of my normal amount. Used to be 15, went up to 18. I think I'm somewhere around that same thing. So got my second box. Now I'll have to play around with it. Let me see if the thing got unplugged. Why does it keep doing that? Nothing. Yeah, it was weird. I had the scope working, so I don't know why it's not doing that now, but huh. It's not. Yeah, I gotta get rid of that Nightbot thing. I was one of those testing those. This was one of the latest ones I've found. Is seriously? I hope you guys are still here. The stupid video thing is kind of going wacko. Let me try this. Okay, what is going on? So that Nightbot thing should be stopped. I went in and shut it down. Okay, I'm not sure what. I opened up that box and then it quit doing it. Because I tested it earlier and the scope was working and well, this isn't fun for you guys. So why is it not streaming? Okay, this is just kind of irritating. Any ideas? I'll say it's plugged in. Well, let's maybe see if this will end the stream and then open it back up and see if it works. So I cannot get this thing to go in my scope like it should. There we go. There's my scope. These are all jumbled up in there. I should have kept them separate, but oh well. What's weird is when I find some of those, a lot of times I found like 2 magic coins in one box. You know, I find 2 DDOs in one box. It's kind of interesting that I find them in doubles. So far, nothing. Here's Magic Marker Man. Oh, it would help if I did it this way. Oh, 77. Yeah, usually I only look for about 73s and 4s, unless I have like a nice, you know, 72 or something. I'll do that, but and I have a Tomlov. Is what I use for my scope. It's been pretty good. I got it from Pa. It was one of his old ones, and works great for me. You know, hand-me-downs, whatever. I don't mind. On my quarters, I've been finding W's and proofs. Never found a silver one. One of these days I will. But like I said, I find them in the coin return trays, but just not in my boxes. All right, one more big stack of these to go. Looking for that double notch, and I have not found one yet. And the 73s, those are usually doubled up there on the I and the B. It's pretty easy to see. I haven't found any 73s for a while, but like actual DDOs. I've got to either look at getting a subscription to like PCGS or something, because I've found a few that I think would be good to send in. Like I had a 1965 quarter that I think is the DDO. And if it is, then that would be a pretty decent one. What was it? Oh, it's a shadow. Okay. Well, those are done, so let's see about getting this one working again. There we go. So these are a couple that I found not too long ago. These were Balboas. This one is a commemorative. I've come across a few different commemoratives, Balboas, and always fun to find. So that's some of the stuff that I'm finding in my rolls here. Still got 3 of you. That's good. So now let's get back to opening coins. Looking at getting some swag stuff. I've got some pens already. Some like bottle opener keychain things. Just a few little things. Working on getting some other ideas. With a couple of you that are in here, I had been thinking about like customized notepads with my logo on it, just in like a faint gray, like a sticky notepads. Not too expensive on those. I think getting it set up and buying them and stuff, it's ends up being, I don't know, 40 cents a pad or something, but it's just kind of a fun thing. So I don't know if that would be something you guys would be interested in, if you could get a package, if you get that. Always looking at 2018 NIFC. Always looking at different ideas of, swag stuff for when people donate down the road. When I do boxes, I think about probably going to do some pennies and nickel type things, because most people don't. But anyway, what ideas do you have that you would like to see that's not like super expensive? Make sure this is still going. Yep, okay. I was worried that it froze up also. I was like, it's not going. A little more light on there for you guys. Another 2018 NIFC. The one box I had, I flipped over a roll and it had a Walker Ender. I was like, sweet, I've never had a Walker Ender before. And there it was. So that's always a nice surprise when you find something like that. I don't expect to find Enders just because it's not common for me to ever find them. But when I do have one once in a while. So for the first stream, don't think it's going horrible. It's not going the best, but more to kind of get practice and that sort of thing. Work on things that make it better and things that didn't. Find out why sometimes my scope didn't work when it was plugged in. I do find that I have to sometimes unplug it from the computer to turn it off. And I don't know why that would be an issue. But I've had that, a couple of those. I've had to like unplug it from the USB spot, and then it allows me to turn it off. Alright. And it's only a few seconds laggy. When I first started doing it, testing it, it was like 20-30 seconds it seemed going by. And it's like, it's got to be quicker than that. So I've got it down, I think, to about 3 seconds, which isn't bad. 3 is pretty doable, I think. I mean, it doesn't have to be instant, in my opinion, but when something's lagging that far behind, it's like, come on. And it'll probably be one of those things that these boxes probably won't have anything in it, because I'll be live streaming it. Whereas if I was filming it, I'd probably be finding at least something, but that's okay. Still the fun of it. Hopefully give some entertainment. I'm kind of a weirdo. And I don't mind saying it. I always said I'm weird, and if people don't like it, too bad. It's one of those things I can never sleep, so I took a sleeping pill 2 hours ago. Usually takes 3 or 4 for it to finally even start possibly kicking in. $20.20 Nipsey. $20.18 Nipsey. And I think I've got a video coming out. I posted them a couple weeks in advance because I finally started getting caught up. So I had a few. It's a schedule. So I think there's one coming out tomorrow. And then like a week after that, I've kind of switched around the days. The days that were working great on some of those are now some of my worst posted days. So I don't know if it's just something that it has changed for the way that I was doing it, that I figured I'd mix it up and see if they work on the other days. I keep track of like when I post them and which ones get more than so many views and that sort of thing, and I don't know if it really makes a difference, but I'll see if the chatbot thing, if I can get that fixed. At the end, I guess we can always see if the giveaway thing is working also, maybe. And if not, we'll figure out some other way of doing it. Probably give some kind of giveaway. Probably wouldn't be too much just because I don't have too much out, but probably throw a silver half or something out there. I do have my spreadsheets that I use to keep track of like all my collection and things on my page. You can download them. They're uploaded as a Excel or a Google Sheets, and when you download them, you just save them as an Excel file, which is how they were set up. And for me, I tested them and downloaded. I have it with the gold and silver price. It should automatically do its update. Put, you know, your coins. I have like face value, what the numismatic value is, what the melt value is, just different things like that. So everybody can always, of course, change it around and do things. I just put it out there because that's what I used. And if you have other questions, I'm always available by email. Not like the perfect coin knowledge guy, but I try to answer what I can. On Excel, I have mine set up so that if it's like certain numbers, it highlights them as a certain color, 2020 NIFSI. And then it counts the number of those colors. So like say you're looking at wanting, you know, anything that's worth over $15 numismatic. And then you can put that in there, and if it's over 15, it'll highlight it, like say in green, and then you have it count how many green cells are highlighted, and then it will tell you. And then you can have it add up those green cells of what the total amounts are. So I'm just kind of an Excel nerd, and when I was going to college, thank you for subscribing, Neil Hansen. At least that one worked. I appreciate the people watching. Like I said, it's my first time, so of course there'll be glitches and things, but going down the road, it will obviously get better. When I was in college, my second time, so backstory. I went to community college, and at that time, once you got basically full-time credits, it didn't really cost much to add extra classes. So I was taking like 8 classes a semester. So I graduated with my associates in business administration, and I went into the office and I said, what do I need for a economics or foreign language? And they said, fill out this form. I said, yeah, but what do I need like to do? And they said, fill out the form. And I was like, but what classes, what credits do I need? And they said, you have enough to get both of these. Just fill out the form and we'll give them to you. Oh, okay. So yeah, accidentally triple majored. Went back for my bachelor's a few years later, and I did economics, and it was one of those that some of the credits for some reason didn't transfer over like they were supposed to. So I had to like retake a couple simple courses. One of them was an Excel course. And I was like, seriously, you want me to do a basic beginner in Excel? I can do this stuff way better. I was like, can I do like a 400 or 4,000 level course? And they're like, 2016 nifty. They said, well, let's talk to the teacher and find out. So I talked to her. She gave me a simple little, test, blew it out of the water. She goes, yeah, that's fine. So in her class, I had 108%, because she would do the test and then she'd have some like extra credit type things, like if you did in addition to what she wanted on her Excel program scripts and stuff. So I had 108% in my Excel course, which is crazy. Evening, BH Ringer. It's my first stream. Figured I'd test it out. I've had some glitches, but that's part of what streaming is. And it'll get better as we go along. I haven't found any silver. Last one I had 15 nifsies. I've got 6 so far. I do average between 16 and 18 depending on the box. Sometimes it's 16, sometimes it's 18, but I fluctuate on my spreadsheet. I have it keep track of all the finds and all that, and it bounces between 16 and 18. So I know some people 2018 nifty like find 4 or 5, and it's like, seems like that's a lot for them. Me, if I found 4 or 5, I'd be like, what the crap is wrong with these boxes? These black rolls have been good. I've been getting black rolls lately. It was yellow for the last year and a half. And these black rolls, I've been finding silver. And so far tonight, these black rolls, the last 2 I had, haven't found anything. No DDOs, no silver. So you never know. 2018 NIFC. I know that some people are like 2018s, you know, they shouldn't really be NIFCs. Well, they're still considered NIFC. So I put them in my NIFCs because they're considered that. Some things I kind of arbitrarily choose not to do, like if it's a hold coin, I don't count that as a miscellaneous. If it's a counter stamp, I do. Must have been a little bit light or something. It sounded silver, but it wasn't. I keep track of my 40s and my 90s, and then each one of the 90 kinds. I keep track of foreigns, any proofs, any miscellaneous like colorized, that sort of thing. And then I have it averaged for the year, and then I also have it, I move them over onto the since I began, and keeps track of them since the beginning of when I started tracking them. So I can pull up, I only started tracking them since last year, so I only have last year and this year. But it's kind of fun to track it. You just kind of see what's going on and how things are coming up and what kind of streaks you find. As long as they're not in your underwear, they're good streaks. Someone said something like that the other day about a streak. Oh, 2003 NIFC. And they said something about a streak of whatever. They were on some game or something. And I was like, well, your streaks in your pants don't count. And they kind of looked at me and they're like, ha ha. I was like, well, it's true. Sometimes my sense of humor can be a little weird. Like me. It's NIFC, N-I-F-C, not intended for circulation. So between 2002 and 2020, along with 1987, those years are, they were like in sets and stuff. They weren't made for just general distribution like for banks and stuff. So you'll hear the word NIFC, N-I-F-C, and that's just not intended for circulation. So basically someone had that in a set and like cracked them out, dumped them in the bank, you know, 2018 NIFC. So it's one of those that they, you know, maybe inherited it and they're like, we don't want this, so they just crack it out of the holder and throw it in to the bank, and then it goes into circulation. So that it's one of those I don't keep most NIFCs unless they're like really nice, and will upgrade, you know, some of my others. But I find a ton. Some people don't find them. And it's crazy because you'll watch someone's channel and they'll have 6 NIFCs. Mine, I average, I think right now I'm at about 17. It went down a little bit, but between 16 and 18. Last year was 16, this year it's been 18. So I tend to see there's another 2018 NIFC. So hopefully that gave you an idea of that. And it's just everybody abbreviates them NIFC and then shortens it, on acronyms. Just say NIFC, it's a lot easier. So I think I need to kind of bring it up here a little bit. And I find putting them in my hand like this is just easier than sorting them on a map. I do sometimes, but usually there's a 2020 NIFC. That is so far $12, and I'm a little over half, well, 3/5 of the box, so 60%. So that looks like I'm pretty much on track to hit my averages. And the 72s I just look at with my naked eye, and usually the only time I scope them is if I can't see it just with my eyes. $20 rolls to go. It's been about an hour and a half since I started. I had a little bit of a glitch in there, so that's okay though. Figured I might as well stream because I need to get some boxes in back to the bank because I'm picking them up this week. I go down and pick them up from my bank on every other Wednesday. Hey, awesome, freaking awesome. Appreciate that. Figured I'd just kind of test out the streaming stuff, work out some of the bugs. I kind of tested it. It wasn't a private stream, but it was a limited or whatever it is. And I had my son on phone upstairs, and it was really echoey, so we got rid of all the echoes. Even with like the speakers and stuff off, it was still like echoing. And so we got that problem fixed. And then we got the scope to go back and forth, which kind of gave us a glitch tonight, but got that fixed. So it'll get better, of course, as you go along, just like anything. You know, someone doesn't jump in a race car and just take off driving. Although it is fun. I've driven the Vegas and Phoenix track in a NASCAR cars. There's a 2018. Another NIFC. But I always kind of figure if you're not pushing yourself to do more or learn more, you know, you just kind of fall in that same thing and you don't grow, you don't learn things. So it's one of those that that green threw me for a second. At first I thought it was silver, but it's not. So in a year or whatever, I'll look back and be like, man, I can't believe how horrible I was. And other people are probably going, did better than I'm doing. So, like I said, when I hit told myself when I hit 1,000, I'd seriously consider looking at getting a computer, and so then I hit that, and then some. So I didn't have an excuse anymore, so I started looking and found this. And my son was here because he had football camp stuff, and so he came home with me, and he wanted to do Fortnite. He was like, can I download that? I'm like, yeah. So he downloaded it and started playing it. Said it wasn't glitchy or anything. I was like, that's good. Because I asked him, is it glitchy? Is it laggy? And he said it was fine. Another 2018 Nifty. I find tons of 2018s, even though, you know, some people say they shouldn't be considered Nifties. They are in the actual list of Nifties, so I found this one on, I think it was an Amazon Prime Day or something. It was 30% off or something like that. But with all the specs, I was looking at building one, and it was going to be an i7 14th gen, and this ended up being an i9 12th gen, and max out at 5 gig on max processor. So with everything there, it's like, okay, I'll have to get my own monitors, not a big deal. And I have, you know, some power cords I already had, or HDMIs and stuff, and so was pretty simple and set it up, and away I went. So I've only had it up and running for about 1 week. I had it for a bit, but then I was on call and that sort of thing, so I didn't want to do it on a weekend when I was on call, because you start doing something and get called in, and it's not fun. 2018 Nifty. So it kind of sat there for, I don't know, a week and a half or something before I finally started putting it together. And the banks, they gave me a couple canvas bags when I went in and started up with them. And I found I can usually put about 2 boxes of halves or 2 boxes of quarters or whatever in each one. So about 50 pounds worth. Well, after a year and a half, one of them finally ripped out of the handle. Just I didn't rip out. I did the microcomputer because if I went with the regular tower, it would have cost me almost 3 times as much. So it was one of those that had the, you know, Windows 11 Pro, you know, all the stuff I was looking for. Like I said, the i9 12th gen, whatever it is. You know, the processor, a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive, 32 gigs of RAM. A lot of them that I was looking at were way less on those and still more expensive. So I got one of the micro ones. The one I got, I normally wouldn't have gotten a micro, But this has a built-in fan, cooling fan, so it's a little bit bigger than a regular one, than a regular micro one. So since it had the built-in fan to, you know, help keep it cool, you know, when you're streaming and stuff, it can take a lot more power. I opted on that one because it was able to be cooled down and that sort of thing. Plus I can upgrade memory. I can put another terabyte in if I want. I think right now one will probably be fine. I did get the SSD, instead of the HDD or HHD, whichever one it is. But for the price, I couldn't pass it up. That with the computer, I bought a couple monitors because, of course, it doesn't come with monitors. But the computer and a couple monitors, even a new surge protector and that sort of thing, all together was less than $700. And even the one that I was looking at that would have been like the i7 and stuff was I think it had gotten down to $990 or something. I can't remember. I do wish it was better video graphics, but it still was okay. You know, at work I had an IT guy friend look at it, and he was looking at trying to build me one out of some of the old computers and stuff. Sometimes they'll sell them, and so he was looking to see when one came across their desk. But when I found this and was asking him, he goes, "Oh, I'd definitely get that one." And you know, he's one of the guys that does all the IT stuff. Not the head IT guy, but one of them. And he's done it for, I think that's what his degree is. And I would have asked my brother, but he's always on the road. He was in the Army and ended up working in the computers. So he would like go over to Iraq and wire a bunch of things. And one of the things, like when people have, you know, two truths and a lie, one of his he always uses is he had an office in Saddam's palace, and everybody always chooses that as a lie. And he goes, nope, I had an office in one of Saddam's palaces. So he, I think, spent 11 years in the Army. Was teaching computers at Fort Huachuca. And then when he got out of the Army, he, of course, went private sector, and he makes a ton of decent money. He was flown to Alaska, and then was going to have to spend like extra time up there, so it was like, well, okay. And he takes a lot of the kind of crappy jobs. It's like, hey, we need you to go to San Jose, you know, California, go to Wichita, Kansas, type thing. And a job came up in Japan, so Of course, everybody puts in for those, and they chose him. There's another 2018. Because he offers, you know, to do the crappy ones. And then he went over to Korea, and he wanted to spend, basically it was like an extra week, you know, PTO type thing, because it has the flight already paid for. And they were like, well, you have to be whatever. And he goes, okay, then do this. And they were kind of like, fine. So he spent an extra week over there just sightseeing, same thing he did with Japan. But he's got to see a lot of the world also. And so when I got my computer, I was going to ask him what he thought, but I know he was in Korea at the time, and time differences and all that. If it's anything like the last few hunts, it's going to come down to these two rolls right here. Yeah, I went through that. Freaking awesome. It explained what those were. It was 2002 to 2020, and then also 1987. And seems like I tend to find a lot of 2018s lately. And I know some people say, well, that shouldn't be considered a NIFSI. Well, it's, from my understanding, is it's on the NIFSI list. So my canvas bag, I have to fix the other one, because they're great, because I can loop them around my wrist and get my workout for the day. No, you're good. Freaking awesome. As I say, I didn't know maybe if I had missed another question in there or something. But I can carry about 50 pounds in a bag, so 2 of these boxes is about 50 pounds, and it can go in a bag. Another 2018 NIFSI. And then it's also a great workout. My stepdad was kind of like, how do you do that? And so I showed him, and there was a bag, and he tried to pick it up with 2 hands. He's like, holy. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, can you do that with 1? So well, no ender. But yeah, I picked it up with the 1, and he was like, that's crazy. Alright, let's see what this has. No. No silver on this one. I was hoping it'd be like those other hunts. Putting 23 or 73s and 74s off to the side for the DDOs. is up with this Nightbot? I turned that crap off. Sorry, it's deleting all that for you. I don't know why it is doing that. Let me just make sure it didn't get turned on by accident again. It was one of those, I was playing around with one of those bot things, and yeah, it doesn't have me, it doesn't show me even logged in. Weird. Well, time for the 73s and 74s. 73s are not as fun, so I'm going to get those out of the way first. So it's a work in progress, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. Still got quite a few bugs to work out, but that's one of those that some of it you can't really do unless you're live streaming, and you can't test it on private. And if good, I'd have probably a lot of them worked out, but oh well. I know Boss said that Nick could help me out with, because I told him I've got that, and you know, just getting everything set up with Streamlabs and that. And so he said he'd be able to help me out with it. So I think I'll have to get a list of what he has. Because like if you type !me, it doesn't do it correctly. I've tried a few different variations of it, and like there's !me, and you can also try !me and then the number 2. And I think that one also is not, because I was trying a few different things. Yeah. And I don't know why that Nightbot's still on there, because I disconnected it. Maybe it's still running in some other, maybe it's running in Streamlabs too, I don't know. Because it connects to Streamlabs. But, that could be. Yeah, I have insomnia big time. I took a sleeping pill. 8 o'clock. So this box had 17 NIFCs. The last one, I think it was 16. So that's 17 for this box, and then the last box was 15. So about kind of my average. So we're going to do a GAW. Don't know what it'll be right now, but see if this works for you. If not, we'll have to figure out a different way. Just exclamation GAW, and it'll enter you into the giveaway. Let me go see what silver I have out. Alright, so hopefully that is working. Alright, I think that'll work. Well, I guess there's just a 50-50 chance between one of you guys. But let's resume. There. Now it's done. So if you haven't entered, I think there's only a couple of you in here anyway. If you haven't entered, get in, and we'll see if it works. Nope. Neil got in, that's good. Anybody else? I'll be closing it in 10. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I don't want to cancel. I want to close entries. Well, it's not coming over, so you'll have to take my word for it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still working on that one. It was working earlier, and then for some reason it didn't. So then I was playing around with seeing what was wrong with it, and somehow completely screwed it up. So, all right, we're going to pick a winner. I got 3 of you, so you have a 33% chance. And the winner, it says Neil Hansen. So you won the Gaw tonight. Get a 40% silver in 1968, along with a war nickel in 1943 out of Philly. And you'll be the first to get a Dad Hunts Coins pen and a bottle opener keychain. So make sure you send me an email. If you hit exclamation email, it should throw that in there. It's dadhuntscoins@gmail.com is the one I use for my YouTube channel. It's not my regular one, but that's what I set up. So just email me that. Make sure you get a good address to send it to. Just tell me that you're the winner, if your screen name is different, and who to send it to. And are you over 13? If you're under 18 but over 13, you have to have parents' permission. If you're over 18, then you're good. But hopefully you are good on that. So if not, just let us make sure you get parents' permission on that. That it's okay for me to send it to you. I don't want to be accused of some weird thing, you know, sending a kid or something. So anyway, a couple hours, that's not bad. Appreciate you guys watching, and I don't know when I'll stream next. I just probably whenever now and then until I kind of get it first. But yeah, Streamlabs always gets #1. I think in almost every stream I see, Streamlabs always gets #1. But yeah, a few bucks in silver. That's what, about $7.50, $8 silver. So do that, and yeah, still get things set up. Like I said, still got glitches. I've got to still get everything, and that's my hands. It's not too bad. Usually they're a little dirtier than that. But appreciate you guys watching. Any questions or anything, you can always email me. And hopefully I'll be getting some different swag and stuff set up also. But anyway, that's what I have for now. So besides a few friends and family, you're the first to get one of those. So get that to me. I'll get that sent out probably as soon as I get your email. And oh, hey Tom Thumb, you just missed the giveaway. But oh well, I'll have more in the future. Just kind of testing the stream, having glitches, and still got to work through some of the stuff and get it more set up. But I figured I'd at least start getting the stream out there for now. So over 50. so you've got like 5 13-year-olds. I act like a 13-year-old sometimes. My son would tell you that. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching and spending time with me. And we will go ahead and see you another night. Might be nickels, pennies, whatever I have on hand. These I just wanted to get back in the bank because I'm going to be pulling probably 3 or 6 boxes out, so $3,000. So I figured at least get another 1,000 back in the bank. I don't like to have too much sitting in my living room floor. So good night all. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And like I said, you can check out my YouTube page. It has a couple links for some spreadsheets, like if you want to download and keep track of collections and that sort of thing, or keep track of your fines. You can also do that. Just download it, save it as an Excel is the easiest way to do it. I personally don't like Google Sheets, but that's the way you have to upload it. So anyway, at least I've got my scrolling thing going across the bottom working. I was afraid that wasn't going to, so there we go. We will hopefully do some more this week. I am on call this weekend, so there won't be anything then. But we'll see maybe during the week, hopefully. All right. We'll see you guys later.